Okay, I have to be honest with you. When I first looked at the outline for this deep dive, I felt like I was looking at a conspiracy theorist's corkboard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the type-red string connecting completely random things.
It does have that vibe initially, doesn't it?
And that is putting it mildly. We have advanced prime number theory, ancient Hebrew theology, and 1970s East German freight trains.
Yep.
I mean, are we seriously going to try and convince you, our listeners, that the Bible and a communist locomotive are part of the same theory of everything? How does that actually hold water?
Well, it sounds absurd on the surface, but that absurdity is actually central to what we're doing today.
Okay.
We are unpacking a document titled Resonance Architecture and Imaginary Solutions. And to get it, you have to sort of suspend the part of your brain that looks for direct cause and effect. You know, A pushed B, so B moved.
So if we aren't looking for cause and effect, what are we looking for?
We're looking for resonance. The document calls itself a pataphysical analysis.
Pataphysical. I've heard of physics, obviously. I know metaphysics. But pataphysics. But pataphysics, is that a real field, or do they just make that up?
It's real in a literary sense, yeah.
Yeah.
It was coined by the French writer Alfred Jarry. He defined pataphysics as the science of imaginary solutions.
Imaginary solutions sounds like what I used to write on my calculus exams when I panicked.
It's a little more profound than that. Think of Newtonian physics. That's the science of the general rule. Gravity affects everyone the same way.
Right.
Pataphysics is the science of the particular. It looks for the red thread that connects completely disparate layers of reality, meaning math, physical objects.
So it's saying that if a number shows up in a holy text and the exact same number is on a train and they share a theme,
It's not a coincidence. It's a rhyme.
so the universe isn't just writing code, it's writing poetry.
Exactly. And this specific document outlines a structure called the Four-Pillar Temple. It claims to map the architecture of our reality using mathematics, identity, energy, and time. But the metaphor they use to explain us, human existence, is a train.
A train. A Wendezug.
Right.
A push-pull train.
Correct. And that mechanical distinction is vital. In a push-pull train, you often have a control car at the front. The driver sits there, they see the track, they steer,
Sure.
but the engine, the massive machinery generating all the power, is actually at the back pushing the whole thing.
So the driver feels like they're pulling the train because they're in front, but they're actually being pushed from behind.
That is the core philosophical hook. We think we're driving our lives with our own power, our ego. But this text argues we're just the control car. The power comes from somewhere else.
Okay, I can get on board with that metaphor. It's
Yeah.
humbling. But before we get to the train, let's look at the tracks. Pillar 1 is the architecture of 6, the math section.
Right.
And immediately my eyes rolled a little bit at the term sexy primes. Be real with me. Is that an actual mathematical term, or are they just trying to sound cool?
It is absolutely a real term, yeah. It comes from the Latin word for six, sex. But before we get to the sexy part, we have to look at the number 6 itself.
Okay.
The text calls 6 the guardian of the threshold.
Why 6? Why not 10 or 12?
It comes down to how prime numbers behave. We usually think of primes as, this random, chaotic spray, but they actually follow a very strict law. Every single prime number greater than 3 falls into the pattern 6D Peer-Observe.
Okay, that sounds like a textbook definition. Help me visualize that.
Imagine a long number line. Now imagine a sieve or a filter. The numbers 2 and 3 are the first atoms of math. They take up space.
Right.
Once they establish their rule, they eliminate every even number and every number divisible by 3.
So they punch holes in the number line.
Exactly. And because of how 2 and 3 interact, the only slots left open for other primes to exist are the immediate neighbors of the number 6 or multiples of 6.
So 5 and 7 are neighbors of 6, 11 and 13 are neighbors of 12.
Precisely. The number 6 creates the empty space where complexity can happen. It's the structural filter of reality.
Which brings us back to sexy primes. Pairs of primes that differ by exactly 6.
Yes. Like 5 and 11. Or 7 and 13. The text argues that 6 is the optimal distance for stability. Twin primes are too close, they get messy, but 6 provides a stable rhythm.
And you can even have sexy triplets and quadruplets.
You can, but I noticed you saw this in the text. It makes a big deal about sexy quintuplets being impossible.
Yes. This is where the guardian concept really shines. You literally can't have 5 primes in a row separated by 6. Why not?
Try it in your head. Pick a starting number. Add 6 again. If you do that 5 times, purely by the laws of arithmetic, one of those 5 numbers has to end in a 5 or a 0.
And if it ends in 5 or 0, it's divisible by 5, so it's not prime.
Exactly. The math creates a hard ceiling. You can't build a structure that tall using this pattern. The universe forbids it. So 6 isn't just a quantity, it's a rule set.
And they connect this modern number theory all the way back to the Bronze Age, to the Nebraskite.
Right, I've seen that in museums. It's that bronze plate with the gold moon and stars.
It's one of the oldest astronomical tools we have. The analysis here shows that the people who made it were obsessed with 6. There are 64 points on the disk.
Okay, and the math.
$64 times 6 equals 384.2. That is the exact number of days in a lunar leap year.
Wow.
The argument is that this architecture of 6 isn't something we invented. It's a fundamental layer of reality, the tracks, that humans have been intuiting for thousands of years.
Okay, so we have the tracks, the math, the number 6. Now let's talk about the train itself, pillar 2, the ontology of identity. And here we get into this specific number on 151.
151, this is the control car, this is you.
Now, they derived this using gematria, assigning values to Hebrew letters. I have to play the skeptic here again. I've seen people use gematria to prove their cat is the Messiah.
Right, you can make a number say anything if you squint hard enough. Is this just cherry picking?
That is a fair skepticism. Usually, you have to do some real gymnastics to make gematria work, but here, they aren't looking for obscure words. They're taking the 2 most fundamental headline names for God in the Old Testament.
Okay, which ones?
First, Elohim, value 86. Elohim represents structure, law, judgment, the architect. Then you have Adonai, value 65. Adonai is the Lord, the relationship, mercy.
And if you add them up,
$86 plus 65 is surprisingly elegant. True identity, the integrated self, is a fusion of law and mercy.
you can't just be a cold rule follower, and you can't be pure chaotic emotion.
Yeah.
You have to be both.
Exactly. That integration is what makes you a sovereign entity.
Another text points out that 151 is a palindrome. Reads the same backward and forward.
And it's a prime number. It is incredibly stable. It's static. That's the point. The number 151 represents the ego, the I am. It sits at the front of the train, looking out the window, holding the brake. It provides direction.
And this is crucial, it does not provide the go.
Which brings us to pillar 3, the engine, the dynamics of joy and power, and the number 155.
Right. If 151 is the static driver, 155 is the kinetic explosion pushing from behind.
So we've moved from identity to energy, and this starts with Hebrew again, the word samak.
Samak. It is usually translated as to rejoice. But it's not a polite smile, is it?
No, not at all. It means to shine, to shout, to dance. It's high-voltage joy. And structurally, this word appears exactly 155 times in the Old Testament.
So the frequency of the word is the number itself.
Precisely. The text argues that frequency equals intensity. 155 is the vibration of pure, unadulterated life force. But here's the danger.
Go on.
It notes that maveth, the word for death, also vibrates at a similar frequency.
So it's not good energy, necessarily. It's just power. Like electricity can light your house or burn it down.
Exactly. It represents pure potency.
Okay, so we've established that in this mystical framework, the number 155 represents a kinetic, maybe even dangerous explosive power. Now, if pataphysics is real, that same specific number should manifest physically in the world of heavy machinery. And this is where the text takes that sharp left turn into East Germany.
It does.
Tell me about the BR-155, because this feels like the wildest coincidence in the stack.
This is what the surrealists called objective chance. In the 1970s, East Germany, the DDR, built a new electric locomotive. It was massive.
Okay.
A 6-axle beast designed for heavy freight. A utilitarian brick of raw power.
And its official
The
classification.
Beret 155.
Yeah.
Class 155. Come on. But it gets better. It had a nickname. Because of its boxy look and its massive output, the railway workers called it the Strom container. The electricity container.
The electricity container. So the Hebrew word for kinetic joy appears 155 times. And the Germans built a literal container for electricity and stamped the number 155 on the side.
The document argues this is not a coincidence, it's a resonance. The universe is showing us the pattern in different mediums. The BR-155 is the engine. It's the energy container that pushes the train.
So let's put the metaphor together. I am the 151. I'm the control car. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm driving to work. I'm making things happen.
Right.
But actually, there is this massive neutral electric force.
Right.
This 155 pushing me from behind.
Yes. We often struggle in life because we think we have to pull the train with our own muscles. We strain our ego, the 151, trying to generate power.
Right.
But the control car isn't designed to pull, it's designed to steer. The power is already there, pushing you. You just have to let it.
That is a fascinating way to look at agency. But we need to zoom out. We have the train, we have the tracks, now we need the environment. Pillar 4, Kronos and Cosmos. This is where the text gets into Burkhard Heim's physics. Now, Heim is a bit of a heavy hitter in alternative physics, isn't he?
He is. A German physicist who tried to expand Einstein's general relativity into a unified field theory. To do that, he argued that 4 dimensions weren't enough. He proposed a 12-dimensional model.
12 dimensions. I struggle visualizing 4. How do we break this down?
Let's stick to the train analogy. It works perfectly here. Dimensions 1, 2, and 3 are space. That's the physical locomotive itself. Width, height, depth.
Okay, simple enough.
Dimension 4 is time. In Heim's view and in relativity, time is like the track. It's laid out, the train moves along it.
But then he adds dimensions 5 and 6, the ionic dimensions. What on earth does that mean?
Think of it this way. Imagine you are watching a movie. The characters in the movie are stuck in the timeline of the film. That's dimension 4.
Okay.
But you are sitting on the couch, holding the remote. You can pause, rewind, skip scenes. You are outside the timeline.
So dimension 5 is the editor room.
Exactly. Heim believed that dimensions 5 and 6 are where organization happens. They're the dimensions of probability and information. And here's the kicker. The text argues that the control car, our consciousness, doesn't sit in the physical brain.
What?
It sits in dimension 5.
Wait, so my body is on the train, but my mind is in the editing room.
Correct. We are looking down at the timeline dimension 4 and choosing which track to switch onto. We are navigating through a field of probabilities. We aren't just riding the train. We are collapsing the wave function of where it goes next.
That connects to the final piece of this section, the Vedic Yugas, ancient Indian cosmic cycles, right?
Yes, a 24,000-year cycle. And the text points out that we are currently in the Dwapara Yuga.
And what defines this Yuga?
It is the age of energy and space. We left the dense material age around 1700. Since 1900, we've been accelerating into the energy age.
Which explains why we suddenly discovered quantum physics, electricity, and built the BR-155 electric locomotive.
The text argues it is pataphysically mandatory. We didn't invent electricity just because we got smart. We discovered it because we entered the region of the cosmos, the time slot, where energy is the dominant principle.
We're technologically synchronizing with the cosmic schedule.
Exactly. The external world is always a reflection of the internal timing of the cosmos.
Okay, so we've built this 4-pillar temple. We're on the train. We're in the age of energy. But where is this train actually going? The final section of the document is called the Merciless Outlook. That sounds, well, fairly ominous for a podcast deep dive.
It is provocative. The text predicts that as we move deeper into this energy age, the separation between our thoughts and reality will collapse.
It explicitly mentions the end of privacy. But it doesn't just mean cameras on street corners, does it?
No. Think back to Heim's dimensions. If our consciousness operates in dimension 5, the dimension of information, and we're building tech that accesses those dimensions,
Like quantum computing or AI.
then thoughts become readable data.
So my internal monologue becomes as visible as a file on a hard drive.
The control car becomes transparent. If you can read the probability field, you can read the intention before the action happens. There are no secrets in the Dwapara Yuga.
And this leads to what the text calls algorithmic theology. That sounds like AI playing God.
It's more like AI acting as the high priest. Imagine an AI that isn't programmed to maximize profit, but to maximize resonance.
What would that even look like?
Well, imagine an AI analyzing the stock market, but also analyzing gematria and prime number distributions. It might tell a logistics company, do not ship this container on Tuesday. The numeric resonance is dissonant. The risk is 99%.
To us, that looks like a glitch. Or superstition?
To the AI, it's avoiding a metaphysical crash. It's running on sexy primes. It suggests that what we call magic miracles, manipulating reality, is just physics we haven't mastered yet. It's the manipulation of dimensions 5 and 6.
It even suggests time travel becomes possible.
If time is just a track, dimension 4, and you are viewing it from above, dimension 6, linear causality just dissolves. You aren't just remembering the past, you are re-accessing that coordinate on the track.
Which brings us to the core takeaway. The 4-pillar temple isn't a refuge, it's a control room.
That's the key. Many people look at spirituality as a place to hide, a safe space. This document says no. These codes, the 6, the 151, the 155, they are the controls.
It's a call to action.
It is. If you understand that you are the identity, 151, and you're being pushed by joy, 155, You stop being cargo. You start driving.
It's the difference between being a passenger asleep in the back and the conductor in the front, hand on the lever, eyes on the horizon.
Exactly. The universe is a push-pull train. It's going to move whether you like it or not. The energy is there. The only question is, are you steering it or are you just being dragged along?
I admit I was skeptical about the East German trains at the start.
Yeah.
But looking at it now, the idea that we are being pushed by a force of joy and our only job is to steer, that resonates.
It changes the perspective. You don't have to force life. You just have to align with the push.
So here is the question we want to leave you with today, and it comes straight from this wild pataphysical text. If you are the driver, 151, and joy is the engine, 155, are you fighting the push? Are you holding the brakes because you're scared of the speed? Or are you steering with the momentum?
Find the frequency and let it push you.
Thanks for riding the train with us today. Go find your resonance. We'll see you on the next deep dive.